I'm going to drop the mic on all of this right now, once and for all.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much. I love both guys. I had a conversation with Stephen A. about it, and I told him I was Brown. I'd have walked up.
Stephen A. Smith is absolutely losing his mind, while Dwyane Wade is thoroughly enjoying the chaos. Stephen attempted to provoke controversy concerning LeBron James, but Wade intervened to neutralize the drama instantly. He confronted Stephen on the spot, but instead of calming down, Stephen launched another tirade, venting during his broadcast as if it were trivial. He maintains he is blameless and is currently shifting the blame, claiming Dwyane targeted him. That is my profession. That is my profession. I am not supposed to ignore that while he is wearing the Lakers colors. Between explosive interviews and intense reactions across social media, this feud is escalating rapidly. But what truly occurred? Why is Stephen so fixated on this, and why is the internet dragging him for it? Plus, we have people like Draymond Green weighing in with his podcast for whatever reason, suddenly acting as if they forgot my character and reputation. He is discussing how Dwyane Wade and LeBron James have been inseparable forever. They entered the league together in the 2003 draft and even secured 2 titles with the Miami Heat. Even Stephen must admit these two share a genuine bond. They were debating LeBron James and discussing his greatest teammate, bringing up Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, but I argued for Dwyane Wade. What is remarkable about their connection is that, after all these years, Dwyane remains his ultimate defender no matter the circumstances. Wade decided it was time to speak up and expose Stephen for fabricating drama regarding his LeBron interactions during an appearance on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn with Carmelo Anthony. Dwyane started by detailing his blank roofand bond with both parties, stating he is close with each side, yet he still messaged Stephen after that viral incident. I share a private rapport with Stephen A. Obviously, my friendship with LeBron and my clade history with LeBron is well established, but I also have a relationship with Stephen A. as well. So we talked, you see. I am not betraying any secrets, but we were messaging back and forth regarding the conflict. And you know what Dwyane told him? He said, "If I were a parent, I would have reacted the exact same way. I told him, as a father, I am stepping to you, okay?" He also noted how bizarre it was that LeBron even approached Stephen like that, since the king almost never loses his composure. I understand because I operate that way too. I am looking at you clearly. But I also mentioned that we have practically never seen LeBron react like that. Even when players get overly physical on the court, LeBron never strikes back. We have only ever seen him remain perfectly composed and rational in every scenario, though fans often want him to react. Sometimes you want him to explode, but he stays calm. However, the catalyst for LeBron's anger was seeing Stephen sitting there on that sideline discussing his own son in front of the world. That pushed LeBron over the edge, and for Dwyane, it made complete sense. He told Stephen that to his face. To provide some background, Stephen was still bitter about LeBron confronting him during that conversation at the Gills Arena. Stephen even labeled it as pathetic that LeBron chose to check him while the cameras were rolling. What do you make of LeBron challenging you in the aftermath of that event? I thought it was a weak move. I truly did. But Dwyane was not about to let Stephen tarnish his best friend's name like that. Meanwhile, he wanted to prevent the situation from spiraling further. So Dwyane offered Stephen a unique perspective, suggesting that LeBron confronting him was actually a sign of deep respect. But, I told him, "Listen, Stephen, I believe the reality is, first and foremost, take that as a mark of admiration that LeBron did that to you. See, Stephen possesses the most powerful voice in basketball media, and he is essentially the public identity of ESPN. In his own unique way, LeBron seemed to acknowledge that your microphone is the loudest Your platform is the massive, and you are also a black man. Exactly. And I said, man, you have to realize where he is coming from. He approached you specifically because the Skip Baylesses of the world and all those other critics have attacked him for 20 years, and he stayed above the noise. He remained silent and focused. And so that interaction held weight. That is pure respect for the legacy you have built. We have known Stephen A. since his early days. We saw him rising through the ranks, so that is respect. But Dwyane was aware of how bizarre this scene appeared to the public. A superstar athlete confronting a media personality in the middle of a game. That is a rare sight. It is a delicate scenario because we have truly never witnessed this before. It is uncharted territory regarding a father, a son, and what should or should not be said. Listen, from that perspective, it's tough to say if there's a perfect response, but I definitely would have stepped up to him and spoken my piece as well. Wade didn't hold anything back during that sit-down, keeping it strictly professional and brutally honest. Honestly, that chapter should have closed right then and there. But since we're dealing with Stephen A., a man fueled by chaos and headlines, he felt compelled to fire back at D. Wade's remarks on his own platform. He claimed he wanted to put this whole saga involving himself and King James to rest, especially after last week's fireworks. Both Dwyane and Carmelo Anthony, two guys who truly know LeBron inside and out, gave their take on the friction between him and Smith. This is how Stephen reacted. Shockingly, he actually showed some gratitude toward Wade for being so upfront. Dwyane never tried to frame Stephen as a traitor or a fake friend. He just highlighted the obvious. LeBron and Stephen simply don't have that kind of bond. And Wade didn't sugarcoat it. Stephen noted that, much like Melo suggested, this tension has been simmering for years. He then added, listen, what really grinds my gears about this whole situation is that most people are dancing around the cold, hard reality of the matter. Melo and Wade kept it a buck, and Stephen matched that energy by admitting, LeBron and I, we don't have a connection. He avoids me, and I avoid him. I have nothing but massive respect for his game. Stephen also tried to explain why he's been making the rounds on different media outlets discussing the clash. Sure, he could have confronted LeBron directly that afternoon, but he chose not to. Apparently, Stephen didn't want to start a riot. He basically said, LeBron and I aren't buddies, it's just a quick greeting. He has no room for me in his circle, and I certainly feel the same way about him. That dynamic was set in stone after his recent stunt. You approached me knowing I couldn't really hit back without creating a massive scene, Stephen argued. The confrontation happened courtside, right in front of the global cameras, on the exact day his massive new contract was revealed to the public. Stephen doubled down, stating this noise wouldn't distract him from his career. He also lashed out at the internet trolls, demanding they stop accusing him of attacking Bronny James. Stephen insisted he's never crossed that line, and if anyone dares to claim otherwise, he's ready to pull up the tape to silence the critics immediately. I view his wife as the gold standard of the league pure elegance. I think his mother is a phenomenal human being. I don't interact with Randy much, but he's a solid guy. Rich Paul and I are actually on great terms. Rich is a class act. The rumors about Bronny James are total fiction. To the whole James crew and everyone close to them, that's just not the case. I've got the footage to prove it. Furthermore, Stephen confirmed that Dwyane actually reached out to discuss the fallout. He even showed some genuine appreciation for his old friend. D. Wade was 1,000% right when he shared what he messaged me, because we actually have a real history. I love that man like a brother. He's my guy. But halfway through his monologue, Stephen's temper started to flare. He was practically screaming into his microphone. I'd never critique someone's parenting based on what happens behind closed doors in their own home. But my job is to cover the closed-O ride, league, and my comments regarding fatherhood were strictly about what we were witnessing on the professional basketball court. That is my responsibility, period. What's truly wild is that despite the massive outcry, Stephen refuses to walk back a single statement. You'd think he might pause and consider how to avoid this media circus, but forget it. It's been 7 days and I'm done discussing this, he claimed. But let me leave you with this. A week has passed, and I'm not retracting a single word I uttered. I stood my ground. I was doing what I was paid to do. And honestly, I'd be failing at my profession if I ignored the topic. Honestly, it's starting to look like Stephen is milking this drama just to stay relevant. One fan even groaned. For the love of God, he's repeated this same speech at least 3 times now. Another person commented, "You have no intention of letting this go. You're addicted to the attention." Even LeBron seems completely over the nonsense, with insiders suggesting he thinks Stephen needs a new hobby. Well, LeBron finally broke his silence on the matter. During his recent spot on the Pat McAfee show, the King finally spoke out. LeBron blasted Stephen for blowing a minor interaction completely out of proportion for the cameras. Weeks later, and Stephen is still singing the same old song. LeBron even joked that Stephen is like a pop star on a world tour right now, comparing him to Taylor Swift. "Ha ha, LeBron." Noted, "I tried to stay out of it. I wasn't going to say a word, but since that footage leaked, I have to set the record straight." Pat, you've got to be kidding me. If there's one person who is praying for that video to go viral so he could talk more, it's Stephen. LeBron also feels like his attempt to confront Stephen was a total waste of energy because the man's ego didn't budge an inch. Stephen completely missed the point of the conversation. LeBron emphasized, "I would never stop anyone from discussing the game or judging how players perform on the hardwood. That happens to be your professional duty. It is simply part of the business. However, once things turn into a personal vendetta, I am forced to safeguard my family and stand up for my teammates." King James is absolutely certain Stephen will release a fresh clip once he catches wind of this. I bet he will be ecstatic. He will probably be grinning uncontrollably just because he is the center of attention once more. Honestly, he will likely race home to snatch some cold dessert from the fridge and lounge in his underwear on the sofa. I truly wish that eventually you guys find some common ground. But for real, the man needs to take a breather. Just chill. Seriously. Truthfully, the King is just voicing what the masses are whispering. Look at Draymond Green. He also suspects Stephen is milking this drama for social media attention. Draymond even cautioned Stephen about the potential street consequences of his arrogant posture in certain neighborhoods. Draymond noted that players often clash with reporters who label a man's hard work as garbage. Pathetic. Back where they were raised, such insults usually lead to physical altercations. That was the warning Draymond delivered. He definitely disapproved of how Stephen managed the entire mess. The Golden State veteran spoke out, arguing that labeling another person as frail is not about hoops. That mirrors exactly what James has been preaching since the beginning. Draymond noted, "You are mocking James for confronting you, yet you are attacking his parenting skills on national television from a distance. The majority would consider that cowardly behavior," he continued, questioning why someone would broadcast a critique of a black father merely because his child made the league. It defies logic. There is zero respect for that move. It is actually fascinating to watch allies rally around James, especially since plenty of internet trolls believe the King had no business confronting Stephen so publicly. Consider Candace Owens. She argues that if James is determined to push his kid into the spotlight, he must brace for the inevitable scrutiny. If your primary claim is that your boy can hang with the professionals, then he has to be tough enough to handle the hate. That is simply the way of the world. Even former champion Ryan Clark weighed in. He empathizes with James's perspective as a parent, stating that while he is not a superstar, he would risk everything for his own children. Yet, Ryan also cautioned the king that a professional career for Bronny means constant public evaluation, and that James must simply accept that reality. Besides, the kid is being compensated handsomely. Ryan pointed out that while Bronny faces unprecedented heat for a 55th overall selection, he also enjoys unique perks, wealth, and chances that no one else gets solely because of his dad's legacy. Meanwhile, the young man at the heart of the storm, Bronny James, has kept quiet regarding the controversy. He has remained focused and fully immersed in the sport, particularly during the recent Lakers' clash with the Milwaukee Bucks. The newcomer entered from the sidelines and notched a record 17 points in 30 minutes of action. Even his loudest critic had to show respect, admitting he was shocked by the kid's surge in self-assurance and composure. The young James showed no signs of panic. He didn't look like the jittery player from the preseason. Instead, he appeared as though he truly fits in the league. Let us be honest, though. Los Angeles was hurting without their stars like James, Luka, Rui, or Austin Reeves. That absence cleared a path for Bronny to log 30 minutes. Give the kid his flowers because he actually performed. However, don't think a few nice words from Steven will make D. Wade or James surrender. Steven has a track record of creating chaos, and he still insists that his stance is the only correct one. What is your take? Did Wade put Steven in his place, or is this beef becoming tedious? When will Steven finally move on? Share your perspective in the section below. Also, do not neglect to hit the like button, subscribe, and activate notifications so you catch every new analysis we post. We appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you in the next episode.